All right, everybody, welcome to the Velvet Bite Radio. This is Tuesday night show, 7 p.m. Eastern start. Hopefully, a few of you will roll on into here, and you might be looking at the title and be like, what are you talking about, Melissa? Break the spells that bind you. What's going on? What spells? I'm not bound by a spell, but of course, I'm going to explain that to you all during the show. I've got a little bit of a slideshow to narrate us all along, just like a story. So that's going to be fun. I've been watching a lot of behavior videos for this, actually. I've been looking at a lot of information that you wouldn't consider was some kind of spell or dark magic. Because when we think of spell or dark magic, we think like some kind of cauldron and a witch, some, Ren Fest person, hoodoo doll or something like that. But today's magic is much more sophisticated than that. In fact, some people call it neuroscience. But alas, it is magic. It's about controlling us the same way that a spell or incantation or charm that someone would do years ago, centuries ago. And it's meant to do just that. And we'll get into different elements. Hopefully, there'll be some people in the audience who will actually tell me what they think. Because the whole point of this isn't just to be like, hey, there's some evil people over there and they're doing all these scripts on us and what a horrible, terrible world. I'm a victim. That's not my mojo. That's not my intention at all. It's simply to identify scripts. And scripts is programming. The things you're programmed with are made up with scripts. So it's to identify those in yourself and go, well, that's really interesting. How can I grow along and realize what scripts do me good, what scripts don't do me good? So it's all about self growth, I guess you could say, but about controlling your own mind and having your mind be where you want it to be and go where you want it to go, not where somebody else wants it to go. And that's really the basis of the show. And it is magic. And they're so clever and crafty, and they're really good at it now. They're really good at it, and they're using our biology against us. That's even more clever. Now, speaking of biology, I quit drinking coffee, and today's day 4. I think I've had a little bit of caffeine here and there. Like I bought a Diet Coke soda, the Coke Zero, and I've been sipping a few sips every day. But I was having a lot of coffee. And so, oh my God, the headaches, the jaw aches, the neck aches. Apparently, after day 5, for some people, they go away. The last time I stopped drinking coffee, it was like it took like I was going to work on day 3 and 4 feeling like I had the flu. Like I just felt brutal. So I think it'll be a better day. I had to take 2 ibuprofens before I came into today's conversation. I'm just waiting for some of you to stream in. I don't know who's going to be here today. I hope some people don't find this boring because I actually find this really interesting. We got Incognito and Jonocide around. I find this really interesting, and the reason I do is because I find it empowering to control your mind. And who has influence to it, what you're listening to, even though, yeah, we are all connected in a way. You're also an individual in this world. Hello, Kirby is in the room. So before we get into the show and the slideshow, I'm going to remind you guys about some of the shows we have coming up. So this Thursday, there's not going to be a show. I might dig into the archives if I have time tomorrow and set up a show to stream about vampires from my archives if I can find a good one. And it's not too poorly done. Melissa, myself here, I have been podcasting for a while, and when my earlier podcasts, some of them are really embarrassing because I wasn't that good. So if it's that bad, I won't put it out. But if it's good, we'll see. So no show this 18th. Next week, we've got a regular Tuesday show. I probably will be doing the 25th earlier because I have an interview with Talking Weird Radio. I'm going to go on there. I also have another show that I'm going to be doing on Walter Bosley channel on Elizabeth Bathory vampires. But on the 30th of September, Malia is coming at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Malia, we are going to be talking about a vampire in California. I think it's vampire orientated on Tuesday because Malia couldn't do the Thursday. And then on the 2nd October, I'm going to kick off the Halloween show. I'm going to talk about paganism and Halloween on that Thursday night. On the 7th, I'm a guest somewhere else. Now, on the 9th of October, Dan and Ava, who run Vamp Chat, are coming by to talk about vampires. On the 16th, Gary Parsons is coming by to talk about Hammer Horror and vampire. His father worked for the studio, and he's a filmmaker himself. The 23rd, I still got to get someone booked, so we'll see. The 30th, Walter Bosley and Todd Woods coming, and we're having our Dark Shadow show. So we're going to have at least 4 guests coming up here in the next month for you guys. It should be exciting. So the question is, now, what am I talking about? We're going to switch screens and we're going to go into the presentation. Before we do, Glenn, welcome to the room. Glenn. And Mrs. Jonaside, it's good to see you here. And of course, we got Incognito. We got Jonaside coming by. Hopefully a few more of you stream in. But let's go into the presentation. And I'm down at the corner here. Jonah says, no, not Malia. Yeah, we're gonna talk about her vampire research because I'm interested to see what she has to say. And honestly, guys, I don't get a lot of women guests on the show. It's a lot of men. So I'm always looking for women who want to share their research and their content. So I think it's great. Okay, so break the spell. Oh, what do I mean by that? Okay, we're going to talk about a spell. I have a lovely book here called Spellcraft by Robin Skelton, and he talks about spells. Hello, Ivy. So what is a spell? First, I go into what is a social script, because social script is a huge part of what we're going to talk about. And that is basically a set of internalized expected behaviors and responses for a particular social situation or event. It's essentially your playbook for social interactions. These scripts are cultural blueprints that guide how we should think, feel, act, making social interactions predictable and less cognitively demanding. It's a script. It's like running a program, and it runs on auto. So the script really is, it can be handy. It can be useful. We have lots of scripts. You have a script. You've learned to get up, brush your teeth, have a shower, get clean, shave. That's auto. You don't have to think about that script. You've been taught it since you were a baby. You have a self-soothing script maybe on how you were able to soothe yourself to bed eventually and just go to sleep on your own. There's lots of beneficial scripts. But we'll talk about why those scripts can turn against us. Okay? We'll talk about, these are behavior scripts. I don't know what Glenn means about timeline script. If he's talking about a narrative, but we're going to stay focused in what I'm doing here. So what is a spell? Basically, it's a verbal or ritualistic act performed to influence supernatural or spiritual forces to achieve a desired outcome, often involving words of power, focused intent, and energy as seen in folklore, fantasy, and certain spiritual practices. So we've got scripts, ways of behaving. We're going to mix that with a spell. Ritualistic verbal acts performed to have an outcome that you want. Scripts are for an outcome as well. And you do rituals every day of your life, but some of them are quite pragmatic. So script mixed with spell. Social scripts and magical spells on their own, they hold very little power. They just lie dormant. But when they merge with forces that speed their passage through the human's mind, allowing them to spread rapidly from person to person, they become something more. It's like making an occult ritual or black magic woven into our corrupt system. Consider one familiar script: obey authority. You guys, we learn that from the time we're really young. Your teachers are authority. You're taught to obey authority. That there is an authority figure, a doctor, a teacher, your parents, they are above you. And, that works when you're a child, because maybe not, because some people use that. You can see how people can use that against children to their advantage. But that's a script that we're taught really young. If you pair it with a slogan, repeat endlessly across every platform of media weighs into this chant or incantation, whatever you want to call it, you can create mass programming. You can send people to war. You can make people listen to you about a pandemic. You can make people do things they wouldn't do. You can make people afraid. So script mixed with spell, repetition, incantation, imagery, ritual, physical ritual. Some people might even do charms and herbs as part of it to induce some kind of psychedelic reaction. Okay, so we go on. How to tell you're running a dark script. So look, first of all, we're all running a script. We're all running it. It seems like this is, I'm just trying to see if this is in order, because it feels like it's not. Okay, yeah. Okay. So if you're running a dark script, and we all are running scripts, we all are puppets to something. We're they can say we're in a matrix. You don't really have to break out. You just have to tell that you're running scripts. And some of them, like I said, are good, some of them are bad, some of them benefit you. So one of the part is identity. So instead of making decisions based on observing something over time, using some logic, you'll make it based on identity. So identity is like your group. It's like identity politics. You'll be like, I'm mega. It doesn't matter what they say. And you might even say this consciously. You might just be compelled to make a decision according to a group. When you make decisions using identity rather than logic or information, you can support wars because it's being pushed as fighting tyranny against America. It's emotional. You're doing it for an identity, not for the logical reason. You will push logic away. That's a dark script. Another way is reward or punishment. Your decisions are being made according to how you will be rewarded or punished for those actions, not if they're good actions, not if they're ethical, not if they're right, not if they're logical, whether you'll be punished or rewarded, positive or negative reinforcement. This is established in childhood by authority. It could be a authoritarian system, a bad peer group, it just could be this, the need to fit into a group. It's survival. It's a survival technique. People like to feel like they did a good job and be rewarded. This one, if you're punished, it's a fear base. If you're rewarded, it's you're trying to do a good job for someone above you to get the reward. And you see this in a passive way, like where I used to work. You used to be able to, they would push credit cards, and I hate usury. I think it's disgusting, the level of interest. And they would try to push me and goad me and shift my behavior so that I would push these credit cards. And they'd say, hey, Melissa, if you sell a credit card by the end of the day, you get to put your name in the raffle, or we'll give you a chocolate bar. I'm like, oh, great. You mean I get diabetes if I make someone sign up for 31% interest? Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, fuck you. Okay, so reward punish. Telephone game. I call it the telephone game because it's like when you're saying words that have been told to you and you just mimic it and tell it to the next person. You're just repeating a script. You're running something. You're not stopping and thinking about what you're saying. You're not calm. It's not an individual analyzation. You're not saying, hold on. We've all done that. I've done that. I call it the game of telephone. We're just whispering along the line, the last thing we heard. We don't even know if it's real. We just make assumptions. You can see that on the Charlie Kirk case where people are calling him a racist, a bigot. You say, well, where did he say that? They don't. They don't say it. They've had people tell them that, and they've interpreted it that, so they keep repeating it over and over and over again. I could give you same examples on the rights. Okay, so here we go. Break the script. And you think, how do these scripts get written in the first place? I don't even mention this. These scripts get, like I said, they're there when we're little. We learn them from our parents. We learn them from our teachers. We learn them from our friends. Neuroscientists know they exist. Propagandists, media places know that they exist. And so they take them and use them and meld them and analyze you and analyze the group and think what script's going to work. And there could be scripts that they try that do not work, that people reject. But they keep throwing them out there anyways. And they've got all the means to navigate and throw the script out there. So the script, like I said, it is going to put expected behaviors and responses. So like if you are scripted to do what everyone else does and you're kind of like puppetry and you listen to the group and someone yells fire and there's smoke in the room and nobody else moves and everybody sits there, most people will not move and they'll not sit there because they will doubt their own mind. You're running a script. You're running a script of conformity, not to say anything. And many of us would do it. We don't think we would, but in this situation, a lot of people would. So how do you break scripts if you want to change? Well, okay, so the system, when they do a PSYOP, they're actually breaking your script. That's why it's so weird. A PSYOP is meant to break the monotony. So they will actually break a script when they do a PSYOP, but it's for the negative. It's to make you do something that's authoritarian that you would otherwise not want to do. We're not talking about the trauma, the Hegelian dialect, breaking the script. We're talking about breaking the script for your self-interest, for your betterment, for your awareness. And that is the first step, awareness. So if you don't think you're on a script, you'll never break it. The first step is letting go of the belief that you could never be following a script. In truth, we all have many. The key is to recognize that the script exists. Only then can you step back and logically decide whether it's good or bad, or if it began with good intentions but was later twisted by propaganda and used against you. For example, the appeal to authority, again, I say that can be useful and helpful when the authority is trustworthy and well-intentioned. Awareness breaks the script's power. Awareness, shining light on a script, breaks the script's power. It could be a message, it could be a response. If you're ranting in your head and going on and on and on and on and on, that's a script you have in your brain. You can break the script. If you are dieting all the time and starving and you have body dysmorphia, that's a script that's been put there. Political stuff, it's all a script. Left and right, that's a script. And they have a script for each party to follow and what they believe about the other side, us versus them. The other thing is identify your identity. You're like, what are you talking about? Okay, so you have to, this is a hard one because a lot of people who don't have identity are in trouble. And that's a lot of young people. So identify your identity. You affirm and examine your identity, your core beliefs, and your self-image. Then you set them aside, you set them beside reality and verifiable facts. You're like, does this match what they're saying is true? Within that identity lies countless scripts layered over a lifetime. Your task is to separate the healthy, authentic elements from harmful ones, especially the parts that keep you stuck, like a record that never stops repeating. If you find yourself into this like really bad habit, maybe it's diet, maybe you want to lose 30 or 40 pounds. You probably have a script. We have totally toxic, horrible food that's like addictive. I know because I liked whipped cream in my coffee and that was addictive. And I just had to break that script that I needed that coffee every morning to survive. I still feel like I need it, but I didn't let myself have it. So you have to identify your identity. And we're going to go through identity. Like I'm not just going to leave you hanging about because everyone's like, what do you mean my identity? Some of it's hard. Like I had a hard time with what my identity was for the longest time because of my background and my crazy mother and all of the stuff and some of the relationships I've been in. Red pill preacher, welcome. So I'm going to go through ego and identity and all of those elements for you so you kind of understand it a little better and understand, okay, so who am I? How can I break scripts? So if a government has put a script on me, it might mean you have a weaker identity. And a lot of us do. And how do you know yourself? How do you know what you want? How do you know if it's the government, if it's your mother speaking in your head, or what you want? Like, what the hell? Where? So first is, of course, awareness, and then your identity. Who are you? And who are you in reference to everybody else? Sorry, dry throat. So I put know thyself. This is how we get put into these scripts and groups and everything. I'm just quickly going over this because I have videos that I'll pop them in the chat. There's that guy, Chase Hughes. He goes over this extensively. Know thyself. If you struggle with your identity, you'll always face social consequences. Knowing who you are is essential, and that comes over time as you develop. But if you have a chaotic world, it's really hard. When you don't define yourself and figure out your identity and hold strong to that, there's someone else will. Someone else will be there to define you, and you may not like the outcome. That's how cults operate. Consider the 3-step process our society often uses to shape identity. Just look at identity politics. You'll be sorted and then manipulated to make decisions from these identities. You'll be like Harry fucking Potter in a sorting hat telling you who you are. So the first step that our society does is they categorize us into groups, whether it's your religious group, your country, your ethnicity. It's a larger group. So they'll chunk you into larger groups. Then they will give you an identity role within that group. So this is important. I know you're talking about dark magic and scripts. And I told you how the scripts, they control your mind, they control your behavior. They're put there when you're little. And the reason we go through this is because knowing yourself is part of breaking the script, breaking the control of the system, breaking the control of what people are trying to influence you with. So knowing that you get categorized into groups, that you get an identity within your group role, and then within the group, you start comparing yourself to other groups. That's like basic. We know that. Left versus right, Muslim versus Christian, white versus black, Chinese versus Japanese. Right? You could be a soldier within America. There's your groups, there's your identity, and then you're like us versus them. You could be a teacher within China. I don't know, but that's how they'll sort you. And this can be healthy, but it can often, when you're dealing with a really toxic system like we're seeming to be dealing with, a really authoritarian system, it's not good because it usually leads to war, chaos, control, because it leads to you not exploring who you are, but being told who you are and being controlled and you'll start doing things you would have never dreamed to do. You'll start, doing things. This is how, Hitler got people in Germany to do certain things. This is how Netanyahu's getting Israelis to do things that they probably would have rather not have done. Categorize you into group, identify your role in the group, and then compare you to other groups. Really simple. It gets more elaborate. You can look it up. Bum, 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 bum. So within the phases of growth, this is important to know yourself. This is about the ego. So you're in these groups. Insane twilight zony. It's actually neuroscience, Glenn. Glenn says it's insane twilight zony. It's not. It's pure neuroscience. It's what happens every day. It's not even spooky stuff from a distance. Now I need my notes on this one because this is elaborate. This is literally the 10 phases of our ego growth. And so it will tell you something about yourself and why you're controlled and how they can run a script, how they can craft. And of course, the biggest part of crafting stuff against you, the biggest weapons that they have. So not only do they put you into categorize you into groups, your roles, and then an us versus them, they have all the means to reinforce by repetition the spell, the script. They keep playing the script. Right now, we're having a script play on us with this Charlie Kirk scenario, with the scripts that they're pumping out there. They have a script. We believe it all the time because we've been propagandized by the media. This is dark magic. Do I think they pray to some dark god? Quite possibly they do. Quite possibly. But if you want to get away from that, you can't worry about other people. You can't worry about the other groups. You have to worry about yourself, You have to understand who you are so you can identify the scripts, break them. And this is the 10 step. It goes pre-social, impulsive, self-protect, conformist, self-aware, conscientious, individual, autonomous, integrated, and flow. Those are the 10 steps within your ego growth. And we'll go through them. Pre-social, you're an infant. You're totally reliant on your mother. You have no identity apart from mommy. You are mommy. You and mommy are one. That changes with the second stage, which is impulsive. That's the ego. That's about 2 to 4. That runs. Do you know why you have the terrible 2s? Because you have a kid who's becoming aware that they are separate from their mother, but they're still a toddler. So they will say things like mine, me, I want. And if you give them what they want, they love you. They think you're the best. If you don't, they have a tantrum and they flip out. They're impulsive. They can't control. Their brain hasn't developed to control. There are some people out there, maybe with a borderline personality disorder, who actually still behave this way as grown adults. If you do what they want, they will idolize you, put you on a pedestal. If you don't, they'll flip out and you'll be the devil. A lot of times, if someone's staying at these levels that are childlike, they've had a wound, they've had abuse happen. So number 3 is self-protect. That's like 4 to 5 years old before you go to school. You're controlling your impulses, so you're not like a toddler. But when you're wrong, you never take the blame. It will never be your fault. You'll try to blame somebody else. It's like getting caught with your hand in the cookie jar. You'll be like, what cookie jar? Or you'll be like, they made me put my hand in the cookie jar. Or it was my dog. You can't own it yet. And then the conformist stage is a massively important stage. It's the school years. We are essentially want to fit in. We have black and white thinking. It's good or bad. We are obsessed with what our friends think about us. How our friends perceive us is the most important thing. That's the conformist. That could be from 7, sometimes 18 to people. That could be all throughout high school. Now, self-aware, you're kind of getting into this idea where you become aware of yourself. You're less black and white. You're seeing a little bit more shades of gray. You become more aware, but you're still tied to what people think about you. Maybe you're in college. Maybe you're trying to achieve things and what everybody at work, what they think matters. That's the self-aware stage. Conscientious, a lot of us get there. A lot of us don't leave self-aware. A lot, like I said, people will stay stuck between self-aware and conscientious for a long time. And basically, when you're conscientious, you internalize rules, thinking deeply about your own behavior, your impact on things. And it's not just about avoiding punishment. Like when you're a conformist, you're trying to avoid punishment. Conscientious, you're kind of given a moral question, like morally, should I do this? And you see some people in universities, they think they're doing this, but they're really behaving like impulsive and self-protective, and they're not there yet. They're trying to get there. It's a moral thing. Now, the individualistic stage is where we start to embrace differences. We're like, okay, we're dealing with our complex inner conflicts. We're managing our inner dialogue. It doesn't take over. We can manage it. It doesn't control our lives. We start to know who we are. Autonomous stage, not too many people reach this, by the way. I don't think I'm there yet, but I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so autonomous is when you're going to see multiple perspectives simultaneously. You can shift from conversations. It's kind of like an out-of-body experience, I would say. You also can see how insignificant yet significant at the same time you are in the universe. You could be in a conversation with someone that's normal and seemingly, not that important, and yet be aware of your place in the universe and how minuscule our planet is, And here's the thing is, as these things change, like as you go up and your ego grows and develops, a lot of people say the ego is a bad thing. It's not. It's just you. It's a bad thing if it's a distorted ego, but if it's growing and it's continuing developing, it's good. It aids you. It is you. So what happens as you get through these stages is your judgment goes down. You accept there's no certainty and you're okay with it. And because you judge less and you don't depend on a certainty, like you know where you are on this flow chart or you know everything, so your suffering kind of goes away. So I don't think that I'm there yet because I think I'm suffering sometimes. You can also, at that stage, autonomous, see yourself and other people. So you don't project. You realize you're kind of connected to other people. So an integrated, like, that's a hard one to get to. It's wisdom, deep inner peace. You are in the Jedi realm, my friends. You don't just know yourself, you understand yourself. You start to understand why you've done certain things. Yeah. You kind of live like you're connected to everything. You realize what Yoda knew. You know that the Force, and we're all one with it. George Lucas was trying to tell us. If you stay in certainty, it'll keep you way at the first, 4 or 5 level. Like if you're certain about everything. And if we feel certain about everything, it's fine because that's just a stage. But you can never be certain about everything. Flowing, okay, they're developing this flow stage. They don't know. They're developing it. And by the way, this came from a woman named Jane Levinger. She developed this idea. Flowing is basically like you're beyond Master Yoda. Like you are flowing with every experience. You're right in the moment. You don't get alerted by it. You're observing and you accept that you're part of the Big Bang. You're part of the universe. You know that you're the apple and the tree at the same time, and you're just experiencing things as they come. And you're allowing them to pass and go. I go with the flow. I think there's a reason they say that. Go with the flow. So that is knowing yourself. And the reason I went over that for you guys is just so you could understand how scripts and dark magic will interrupt that. Psyops, they'll interrupt that. And you have to observe those psyops and those scripts so you can stop them, so you can keep going through this little 10 phases of your ego growth. So you don't stay at self-protect conformist. Or there are some people who are permanently 16 and they don't go beyond. That's just how it is. So break on through to the other side. The key is learning to observe without absorbing. I've said this before on the show, and I'm not always good at it. I'm trying as hard as I can. But when you can recognize that their scripts no longer serve you, that they're there manipulating you, or that you've outgrown the script, or that the script is meant to hurt you, you rise above the ego. You kind of, you're the ego, but you kind of put it in check. You don't want to get rid of it. It is you. It's part of you. It's like you're trying to stab yourself or like bite your teeth or something. This awareness leads to the state of flow, where you understand that life is something to witness and participate in, not to control. You are part of everything, connected by the same elements that link all people. Dark forces, often described as black magic, exploit these natural connections to influence and control. By staying in the flow and choosing to observe rather than to react, you keep the ego in check, you break free from imposed narratives, and render any attempted manipulation powerless. That is it, my friend. Just a little reminder. Protect your mind. Let it flow. Now, this is not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. And the reason I want to talk about this is, it's because we're going through a psyop right now. And people are arguing, people are upset, people are hurt. There's scripts being playing on us left, right, and center from all of these really, really corrupt and evil people who are locked into, I don't even know what part of the ego they're locked into. They're locked into something wicked. They're all about power. Do they know themselves? I don't know if they know themselves. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But we are going through this a lot, and our minds are so powerful. We're not little me's. They need our minds to go with these scripts so they can do what they want, so they can carry out. Now, actually, let's pop back in here, and I'm going to share some screens. I'm going to see if we can find some videos of and watch people do certain scripts. My dog's laying over here. The other dog's sleeping on the couch. Geronimo's come to say hello. He's staring in the mirror over there. Can't see him. I think you might be able to hear him meowing. But I want to see if we can kind of like look at the chaos, because these scripts create chaos. They're never there to be harmony. And I'll tell you, the one thing about it is if you do get into an autonomous script that feels like it's relaxed and you know what's going on, they will interrupt it with a psyop. And it seems more and more in our world, we have more psyop than peace. And they're just rolling it out one after another. There's a psyop here. There's shooting of Charlie Kirk. There's a bomb threat at the grocery store. There's a shooting at a school. There's a war over here. There's like, they just keep it going. And it's because they want you hooked in to that, watching that all the time. So you can never go through those ego phases of life. You cannot lock them out. They've got you locked in the script. They've mimicked you. They've emulated you. These elite people have pretend. They're pretending they care about you. They're pretending to be like you. And I think all of them are. And then so you give them your power and your mind, and they just keep putting more scripts and more black magic on it. And you never actually get to self-actualize and get to that point where you're just like, whew, Matrix style, like, oh, that doesn't matter, that doesn't matter, that doesn't matter. And then you get stuck here. You get stuck in this rut. You get stuck on a record of repeat, which is what they want, because they want you to keep repeating the script. So they're able to do all the stuff that they want. They can keep putting their magic out. That's what these little think tanks are about. And these evil CEOs above CEOs, they're all about coming up with magical concoctions. And I don't know, you're like, Melissa, this is science. This is neuroscience. This isn't a magical concoction. I argue. I'm going to play this one video on Facebook. I think my husband shared it with me. Planned crisis actor. This is how everyone gets manipulated to make moves they want to be made. Okay, so this is going to be fear in engaging. So we're just going to absorb it, or observe it, not absorb it. Don't absorb it. It's hard. It's hard because when we're surrounded, because we're connected with everyone, it's really easy to absorb. But just watch this video.
Are you an elite? Are your staged attacks not going as planned? Are your globalist agendas failing because you're using subpar crisis actors? Well, then look no further. Hi, I'm Harrison Hanks, the ultimate crisis actor. Need a medical doctor? In 18 years as a medical examiner, I've never seen anything like it. Yeah.
Is this one over the top? Is this one different?
Yeah, it's over the top. 33 children died. You need a grieving husband?
Do you know notice he said the number 33? That's supposed to be some special trigger. They say 33 a lot. They've said it in this shooting. Oh, we were on the search for 33 hours. 33 is some kind of thing. There's something with 33. Does anybody know what it is? Jonaside wants to know what they're trying to hide this time with this one. I can conjecture. I would watch a couple of Candace shows, but that billionaire, Bill Ackman, he has something to do with this. Bill Ackman, the guy who runs the Babylon Bee, there's a woman, I don't know if that means Laura Loomer or some other one, but there's people who had a meeting with Charlie Kirk a month before he died, and they were threatening him, and he didn't take their money. So there's some fishy stuff going on, and hopefully it will all play out, but stay calm in the meantime. Let's make fun of it, because he's talking about how bad their crisis acting and their crap is and their garbage. That's part of the script. The theater, the news, the fake politicians who are pretending to care about you. It's such an intricate, it's not even just spoken ritual world where it's spoken, it's print, it's media, it's digital, it's all these actors, it's fake news reels, it's fake investigation, it's planted investigation. The government is literally capping off anyone who's a threat to them. It is insane.
Did a right-winger set off a bomb? Right, yeah, we're just milling about it. Then had a massive explosion. And I'm your man. Tired of melodramatic acting?
There's light away from the darkness. I'm just trying to figure out if he's okay. I lost my 20-year-old, but I had 20 years with my son.
It's just tragedy, horror, and tragedy.
Or maybe you need me to tone down my good acting to match your sorry lot of wannabes. In that case, I can go from this. My name is Bobby Parmer. My family's one of the families that lost a child. To this. My name is Bobby Parmer. And my family's one of the families that lost a child. Going for the guns takes subtlety. Like this. I don't know how many more need to die before the president does something. Not this.
And please, could we do something with the assault weapons?
And every one of those hands is a reason why those weapons should not be out in the general public.
Because in this kind of a situation, what has changed? Have we learned nothing?
Tired of green screen mishaps and disappearing noses? Me too.
Is there anything else you want to say?
I'm green screen ready, bonded, and insured. I can morph into 1,000 different faces. I offer reasonable rates, and I have no conscience. Just pick your card to play on the world stage.
From homeless to police officer, from doctor to witness, to your ace card, the grieving father.
You can count on Harrison Hanks to push through your agenda. Regain their trust. Call Harrison Hanks for all your crisis needs. Thank you, and good luck.
Okay, so that's an example. So we have a comment that says it's Freemasonic number 33, but I'm sure it probably goes into Saturnalian magic. Yeah, they trigger 33 all the time, especially when they're doing a psyop or they have these crisis actors and stuff like that. They trigger the number 33, and it's interesting. And I'm not 100% on what it means, but it definitely means something. Like right at that shooting of Charlie Kirk, the security people were literally giving hand signals. And this is a good example to just tell people to sit back. This is a narrative. They're lying to us. And everything they say doesn't make any sense. They undid the gun, they put it, then they jumped off the roof, then he put the gun back together and put it in the woods, and they're giving all these the transcripts of the conversation that it looks like it's patched together and faked. There's no way he could have got that gun undone and then done in the amount of time. Then they say he was walking with it in his pant leg. Then they show you pictures of him that looks like he's walking fine without a gun. The pictures they show you actually don't really even look like him. It's crazy, and there's so much chaos, there's so much crazy stuff happening, and so much going on. It is like a movie script, and that's the whole thing. When you're in a script, when you're being played, your emotions are being invoked all the time. They want to make a move. They want to push you in that direction. They want to control who you are. They want to form your personality and not allow you to form it. And they'll do that because you will conform, because you have lots of scripts that make you conform. Now they have the DNA with the screwdriver on it. That could be planted. All of this stuff could be planted. They could plant the DNA. Like that, these agents could be on the servers talking to these kids and brainwashing them. There's another video with Oswald Cough. Yeah, exactly. There's another video on that Chase Hughes channel where he literally talks about Sirhan and says it's quite possible to manipulate somebody within an hour and if you're really good and you're like one of these agents, and convince them to do murder. The shooter that went into that BlackRock building went to the 33rd floor. 33. Watch these crises. 33 is the code. There is a black magic to this, and I'm not sure what 33 means to them. You hear it over and over and over and over again. Because I got this book. It's about spellcraft. We're not talking magicians, Wiccans who are doing spells so that to give good nature and good feelings towards your family or clear spirits out of your house or make the crops grow. We're talking psychotically measured, enacted ritual. They are literally creating, with all of this stuff, they are creating like, what's the word for it? They are creating oh dear, my brains, they're creating a false reality. They're creating their own false reality. So like if I take a picture of you and we're at a birthday party and I snap a picture of you, that's an authentic picture of something that really happened. Holy parachute doom, welcome to show. It's a, yeah, maturing candidate. Exactly. But here what we have when it's a movie, we could take a picture of it, but it's a false reality. So we're literally showing false realities and false realities amongst false realities and fake people. Same with online. It's just this never-ending kaleidoscope of fake realities that never happened, that was fake, that wasn't a real human being. It was a person playing a role that creates a fake world, a fake, yeah, just not real. It's spooky. 33, I'm seeing if that is significant. Or what the significant is. I don't trust that ChatGPT would be able to tell me. But I'm going to find out what it means in Thelema, because I know 33 means something in Thelema. Give me a second. So 33 doesn't have a single explicit meaning, but it is significant in connection to Gnostic Christianity and the Kabbalah, referencing the perceived age of Jesus' crucifixion at the age of Jesus and the number of points on the Kabbalistic tree of life. The number is more directly associated with the number 333, representing the demon Coronzome, who acts as the ultimate obstacle between aspirant and enlightenment in Thelemic magic. Number 33 tied to the age of Jesus Christ's death. In Islam, it's eternal use. The concept of bliss is often linked to 33. In Buddhism, so yeah, in Kabbalah, it's the number 33 relates to 33 points on the Kabbalistic tree of life, representing a path to spiritual growth and gnosis, pure knowing. And it can also be connected to some demon, which is 333. That's interesting. So numbers in Thelema. Let's go to Thelemapedia. They have the 33. Oh, they want me to log in. Well, I'm not logging into Thelemapedia. Thank you very much. Let's check numerology. This number shows the free activity of being in the organization of the world. It shows free creatures related to the plans of the creators, linked of justice and love. In the Bible, Christ in the Gospels accomplishes 33 miracles. 33 doctors of the church are theologians to which the Roman Catholic Church recognizes a particular authority. There are 30 men and 3 women in the saints. 33rd year of a person is the perfect age, that of full development, according to Mary Agreda. So there's a lot. 33 litany of angels. There's a lot, and it depends who's doing it. I would go with the Kabbalah thing. I think that is interesting. Hello, Carl. Someone says Illuminati orchestrate events to align with 33 dates, times, or coordinates. It's so peculiar that numerology and math is, and we know it's important. They use it in the banking, they use it in compound interest, they use it to gain more power. It's very specific. It's not general, like wrapping herbs in a cloth and burning it to curse someone or whatever they do. It's very, very calculated, very specific. And they have, it's sad that people get paid to be these crisis actors. I wonder what they feel at the end of the day. They certainly can't be higher and get to this notion of themselves where they're self-actualized. All right. Let's talk it. What are we looking for? I put occult and government. What comes up for occult and government? Because you can't know power without understanding the occult. And people are like, what do you do in this show on Tuesday? It's because you have to understand the occult and you have to understand what they believe, because it may be different than hundreds of years ago. And occult just means hitting, of course. It may be different, but it's a development. So they probably still practice or believe some of the stuff. Let's choose a video at random, then we'll do a little bit of TikToking, because we'll see all sorts of scripts. Witchcraft in the White House. Let's check this out.
So in your upcoming presentation in Colorado, you're going to be talking about witchcraft in the White House. Talk about that.
We need to drain the occult swamp. And basically, I'll expose that the...
Okay. Of course, he's using an umbrella statement to terrorize Christians. Occult means unseen or unknown. I think what he means is, if we wanted to drain the swamp, we would be draining basically all the evil people that are in government doing really bad things to people, bad hexes, mind control for deviant stuff, to have people murder other people, to push humans into slavery. That kind of really bad stuff. So I don't like the blanket statements on people, because that's an us versus them. That's, putting yourself into a group and pointing to the other group. And I'm not entirely comfortable with this, but the people at the top, the rulers, are who we really should be looking at in some of these dark behaviors.
Occult and demonic behavior has been a part of the White House for many, many decades. And begin to expose, even in recent times, with, believe it or not, and just being fair with the information, is both sides of the aisle. The Reagans were involved with astrology, the Clintons in witchcraft and voodoo, the Bush, both senior and junior, were involved in the Skull and Bone Society, still to this day, right? Obama not only had some satanic overturns there, and I bring that out, but even his wife, Michelle, with her mother, brought voodoo into the White House as well. And even, of course, we're left with Biden. He is also involved in witchcraft and things of that nature, and even did witchcraft rituals to cleanse the White House of Trump energy.
Well, that's interesting. What do you think about that? All right. John Connor says, funny thing is the word occult is also used in the medical field, particularly for blood. That's not seen. Yeah, well, it does mean hitting. So you have to kind of parse it out. Like, there are people who are healers. They want to help people. They want to heal. Then there's people who come at this. They might have a personality disorder. People with personality disorders on that scale that I showed you, they're probably stuck at somewhere about 3 to 7 years old with a wound. And Pete, can you settle down, please? I'm trying to talk. You're okay. He's trying to fight with the other dog. He's like, rawr, rawr. They could be stuck up there and they want power. They want to go get something to hurt somebody else because they're upset. They can't self-actualize along the scale, and they're going to go get a curse. We'll look up some of them. There's the most ridiculous witches on TikTok and on Etsy that sell curses or do curses, and they look ridiculous, but you watch them, you'll see their identity. Part of your identity, like, remember when we talked about your groups, you belong in a group and then you have an identity within the group. Part of those identity is like makeup, hair, costumes, what you wear, what kind of music you listen to, food you eat, all of that stuff. And you can watch these Wiccans. It's crazy. Let's type it in, because I'm sure we'll get it. And then we'll stream over to X and see what's going on. No, there's people who do spells on here. I've seen them. Let's see. Is there any live people? To my live affirmation. See, this a lot of these people they're using the cards, but they're positive. Let's go to videos because I seen some of them that they were doing the most ridiculous curses. That guy, no, I don't know about him. If they were smart, they would be focusing on their own mind, like I'm telling you, actualizing, self-actualizing. You don't need to go buy a whole bunch of, instruments for that. You don't need to dress a certain way for that. You can do that no matter what you look like, what you wear. If you're in jeans, a skirt, a dress, a burqa, you can start to self-actualize. I can't find it. Oh, we got the occult. He's talking all the male witches. We don't want music on here because we don't want to get. But I've seen these things, and I remember I was reading the story there before Charlie Kirk died, about 2 or 3 weeks before Charlie Kirk he didn't just die, he was assassinated. He was executed publicly. There was these witches. This woman went and got a witch, an Etsy witch, and she got her to do all these curses on Charlie Kirk. She published the story. And then within a couple of days, that assassination happened. Now, did she make it happen? I don't think so. I think it was probably already pre-planned. But she's writing for a major publication. Coincidence? Or was this like a part of the joke? Did they tell her, to put that out there? I don't know. But you see, people can get locked up with these identities. Like they have control and they have power and they can do horrible things to other human beings and not realize that everybody's connected. Yoda ain't shitting. Yoda ain't tripping for nothing. Yoda's telling you that everybody's connected by this force field. A bunch of brouhaha. Well, these kind of witchcraft, it just seems to me like they're like, like kids who maul kittens. They're like little crazies who maul kittens too much. They get this weird satisfaction out of mauling people, and they think this is the way to do it. I don't know. We're going to go check out what's going on. The saddest witch surge was after The Craft. Oh, what happened with that? Because I think a lot of these people see these movies, which is a script. It's telling you what the occult is. Same with Rosemary's Baby and The Exorcist. Oh my God, these things are going to kill you. And all this stuff has to involve human beings. It can't just be a Ouija board. You have to have humans do it, right? People see these movies and they're like, that must be what it is. I must go dress like this or do this or this ritual. And it's Hollywood's just pretty much either made that up or inserted stuff that they do. I don't know. Let's go over to X and see what's going on. We will see tons of scripts. That's the one thing I wanted to talk about, is the scripts happening, because you'll see influencers, they get money and they get sent out a script, and it will be script after script after script after script. It makes me think about Walter Balsley's book, his Nimza book. Oh, interesting. I haven't read it yet. Holy Parish of Doom says Errol Levin was an odd fellow. I'm trying to think of who he was. Let's see if we can spot some scripts here on X. So Candace Owen said 17 minutes ago, all Bibi Netanyahu had to do was not lie on Charlie's name in the aftermath and we wouldn't be here. But he has never been able to meet the challenge. Cernovich said, it matters how Charlie Kirk was treated. 1, because he was our friend and brother, and 2, because there will be a war for Turning Point, and it matters who did that to Charlie. So people think this text change was scripted. Wow. So the quarterings, I've seen I don't think the quartering understands what a psyops is. So, and Ben Shapiro, he babbles script after script after script after script. So now Ben Shapiro is going to donate $1 million to Turning Point USA. You know, guilty people will often do stuff like this. They'll be the first. They'll show up. They'll like a killer. They'll kill somebody, and then they'll show up to search for the body. I have not watched The Craft, you guys. I have not. I was out of The Craft for whatever reason. I never watched it back in the day when I was young. They actually had a witch advisor. Interesting. A witch advisor. Rosemary's Baby, Stepford Wives was a creepy one. I moved to Utah, so I live where the shooting happened, and I kept telling people it's like Stepford Wives, but it's Stepford, Utah. Like it's Stepford Mormons. It is weird here. And I'm going to tell you guys something. For the past 3 or 4, maybe up to 6 months, I felt kind of weird, like something was going to happen, but I couldn't place it. And it just felt weird. I mean, I know Utah is normally thought of as weird because of all the Mormonism, and Mormonism's just a corporation, guys. It's just a corporation. They're all about money. I find them spiritually void and mostly about money. The people down at the bottoms probably, you know, people down at the bottom probably think it's spiritual, but the top-notch stuff, it is not spiritual at all. I just don't see it. I see it at all these religions as a corporation, in my own opinion. I'm just trying to find some kind of, yeah, Israel assassinated Charlie Kirk and how the Jays have overtaken his show. Yeah, this is what happens. And so this is why I'm also suspicious. They're trying to overtake his show. They are trying to pin it on this young kid who I think is just a patsy. And then if they overtake this show's going to bomb because I'm not going to listen to these assholes. Not a one of them. Not a one of them. It's crazy. The exchange. See, everybody's talking about the letter between Charlie and his boyfriend. It's a fake letter. You could tell it's all patched up and made up. It doesn't, when you read it, it doesn't even make any sense. Check out Candace Owens. She's got some really good stuff on it. You can see it was a setup. Ben Shapiro's Daily Why donates $1 million to TPUSA to help bring people back to Christ. He's a Jew. So I don't know. It's all the religious crap again. And people back to church and back to biblical values as Charlie wanted. This sounds good, but the truth is, this is money spent to enforce Christian Zionism. So, yeah, they're trying to infiltrate Turning Point is what they're doing. Like, the fact that they're making this move so quickly is really suspicious. Like, the poor man's not even buried yet with a funeral, and they're moving in. They're making it look like, oh, we're going to help Charlie Kirk's show. They're trying to take over. This is step, like, this is, like, you can't be more obvious that you're trying to move in and take over something. Did you know what they used to say this? That's what they used to do. When the Khazarian Mafia, they would move in and they'd kill somebody and they'd take over their identity. This is what I'm talking about. They'll emulate you. When they can't make you take their money and stuff, they get rid of you and then they take over and absorb you. This is exactly the feeling I'm getting from this. This feels so sick. And Destiny has been inciting violence and murder everywhere because he's crazy. He's just such a gross human being. Nick Fuentes doesn't believe Israel's involved. That's probably because he doesn't want to get shot too. That we don't want to see that picture. So Destiny, by the way, is putting out a notice saying that everybody got him banned from Twitch today. And Elon Musk, he's been banned from Twitch since 2022. So he's lying and making shit up. This guy's crazy. Like, he's psychotic. He's been banned for over 3 years. So I don't know. You can see a lot of scripts running on here. And does anybody know the truth? I don't know. Look at this. It's so gross. They've taken over the show. They're parasites. I told you. Remember I told you how this happens? How they take over people and they assume their identities? This is what happened. These people, this is disgusting. This man is not even buried yet. and they're trying to take over his show and pretend they're in memorial of him, and they've attacked him multiple times. Holy Parish of Doom says, Jesus never used the word religion. I don't know. I believe in divine spirit, but do not believe in any organized religion. Very well said. Thank you. John Connor says, Firuza Balk was also well versed in witchcraft. Apparently, it really got weird during the beach invocation scene where the tides was coming up faster than expected. I bet that was a weird scene. I have seen that scene. I was never a big fan. Firuza Balk, I thought she was disturbing. I don't know if anyone agrees with me. She was never my thing. Oh, then we've got people. See, and another thing I always wonder about online, why we have to observe and not absorb. I think they pay people to say radical stuff. I think they pay people to say radical leftist stuff that don't really exist. I think they paid people to make fun of Charlie Kirk's assassination, to rile the other side up. They are already showing up and assuming and taking over Charlie Kirk's show. It's just so gross. The man has only been dead for a week. It just feels so sick and disgusting. And now they're clearing up the assassination scene. They're deconstructing and building on top of it in less than a week. They were. This is psyop. This is a script. Sounds like a script. This whole thing is a script. We're supposed to believe that they just get, it's not like a screenshot. It's not like the information from his computer. It's just a piece of paper. It sounds like they wrote it up. It sounds like they got Chat GPT to write something up about the script between Robinson and his roommate and his boyfriend. Stephen Miller, he's psychotic. Here we go. Attention. This car is driving around Mansfield, Texas with explicit threat to the president. It's crazy. It is crazy. It's so weird. Yeah, there's something really bizarre about all of this. And if you go on Candace's show, they have a different narrative about the boyfriend. They're not falling for it either. And they're the parent. She talked to the parents of the gay boyfriend, or the family of the gay boyfriend. So I suggest you watch her show. The Beating Heart of America is TPUSA. I'm going to tell you right now, I won't be watching this show with these 4 assholes infiltrating it within a week. That's disgusting. I'm literally disgusted by watching this. I know I'm supposed to observe and not absorb. Let it go. I've got my special rock in my hand. But I won't be watching this. So, as you see, Candace Owens claimed threats were made to Charlie Kirk, all right. I mean, it's hot in the news. It's hard not to talk about it. But you can see all the psyops going on right now. And knowing yourself and knowing who you are, you can just step out and not go and fight a lefty or a righty or talk about it. You can just say the facts. This is a psyop. This is fake. This is not real. This is a dark, dark, evil spell. And the fact that they stamp it all the time, they insert 33 somehow, is definitely key. I've heard multiple people tell me that. Candace has gotten a little strange lately. I don't know. I'm good with her. I like her aggressive journalistic style. And the fact that she literally goes to the root and gets people. You may not agree with everything she says, but I don't like everything that she says. But I think she has a good motivation for this. Better than, she doesn't show up on TPUSA trying to take over Charlie Kirk's show right after assassination, making it look like they're helping them keep it going. It just looks weird. There's just something that feels just wrong about it, because we know Charlie Kirk was questioning Israel big time and wouldn't take money from them and wouldn't go on the trip to Israel. There's just something really wrong here. Yeah, the psyops have been nonstop since the turn. So it's like we've had psyop war, psyop war, psyop war. It is so crazy, my friends. But this whole slideshow, I'm gonna pop it up. I'm gonna make it available on the Substack. Let's show it to you again. That one's going to be available on the Substack. I'm going to pop the video. It's called Your Ego is Not What They Told You, because it's going to talk about ego development. So you can kind of go over that and watch that if you're interested. The French are still suing her for saying her wife is a man. That is a man. They can sue her, but they're going to lose. I don't think they understand how it goes in the United States. She's a journalist, and if she can prove that she had all the evidence, which I've watched her show on it, and the evidence is compelling, they're going to lose. She's allowed to say that. That is like, that's like saying Michelle Obama's a man. You ain't never heard people be sued about that. I mean, it's so compelling. It is insane, and that is just a man. But this is going to be available. This is going to be available up on the Substack. I just have to get time to download it. So, and I'm going to make it available for free. And there is also a free article on a cult leader. And I put that up there specifically because these cult leaders use these same scripts on us. They use magic. They call themselves mystics. They pretend they are here to help us. And remember when I said, if we don't have a good sense of who we are, we'll go looking for it. And there's plenty of wolves in sheep's clothing that will form our identity for us. We are in a really strange time where our identity is being formed every day. None of us used to be on these 20 years ago, hardly at all. Like, it just wasn't a thing. Now they're forming us into this, and they're forming us into probably inserting it in our head. So we're controlled like robots. I firmly believe, I got some notes here, that they want us to be soulless, empty voids. That's what social media does in the first place, if you don't get away and do natural things. And they want us almost sociopathic like they are. Did you notice that cities, they did a study that psychopaths are attracted to living in cities. They're attracted to living in cities, and cities tend to breed sociopaths. Yeah, Renee, her Kamala, yeah, she's very fact-based, and she usually crosses her T's and dots her I's. I don't like everything. I've had some tiffs with things she said, but she has to. If she's coming up with this, she has to be fact-based because you can get sued. She's constantly talking to her lawyer. Yeah, so just before I cap off for tonight, no show Thursday. I'm going to try to do an upload. I'm going to find something in my archive to pop up there so people can watch it. It'll probably be done in the afternoon because I think you get better numbers if you put something like around 12 or 1 o'clock and upload it than you do late at night. Live streams are different. But cities attract psychopaths and then they breed psychopaths. I'm not saying everybody in a city is psychopath, but here's something to remember. I think there's a reason they want everybody in cities. Number one, farming, slavery, and it tends to make us psychopathic. I'm not saying psychopaths have never existed. I'm just saying it goes into overdrive. And it's part of this self-realization. We tend to separate ourselves from the world and think that, oh, the Big Bang happened and we're separate from it. The planet is there, we're separate from it. No, we're part of nature. We've separated ourselves in our mind and built these sort of, metropolitan areas around it. I think that causes the mental illness in the first place. One of the first scenes you see, someone mentioned Jack the Ripper. One of the first scenes you see where mental illness starts going out of control is the Industrial Revolution, where they started to take immigrants in for workers, and they started taking people from the countryside and shoving them in these hovels in the city. And I'm not saying schizophrenia never existed before this. You just seen an explosion of schizophrenia, mental health problems, alcoholism, etc., etc. This is what happens when we rip people away from their family, their tribes, their natural environment, the woods. This is why, nature is therapy. You make psychopaths, you make schizophrenics, you make alcoholics, you make people who need drugs for therapy, and we just won't stop, because these people who are pushing this, they keep trying to make us feel guilty for eating meat, for doing this. But they keep pushing this city jungle that breeds psychopathy, and we are connected. Oh, we got a good one here. Oh, I'll get to that one in a second. A pathocracy does turn people into sociopaths. It legitimizes and normalizes the state of being. Yeah, because you can't handle that many people. You can't. It's an overload. Who no one cares about you. You're not connected to the elders. You can't go talk to anyone. There might be a church there, but I mean the Catholic Church. I know Candace is Catholic, but the Catholic Church isn't a corporation as well. Everything's a corporation. Everything's meant to put you into indentured slavery. And cities are not good. It's why people don't like them. John Connor said, hey, Velvet Bite Radio, if you want to check out a cool horror podcast tomorrow, check out the Death Rattle podcast, 7 p.m. Eastern and 4 p.m. Western time. That's Pacific time. Okay, yeah. So, guys, the Death Rattle podcast. I'll check it out. The Death Rattle podcast. Grandma Scary Bear, thank you. Bullseye. Yeah, the psychopathy we're experiencing is just insane, and it's throughout everywhere. That's why these people can go on TikTok and laugh about assassination. They're empty, devoid souls. And the longer I think you're on this, because you're not connecting to real human beings, the more likely you are to be a psychopath, a sociopath, and you'll never do that self-actualization that I talked about in the slides. Your ego will never get past this 16-year-old. It will never get to the wise part. It'll never self-actualize. You'll never get into an autonomous stage where you can see other people's perspectives and realize that you're connected to everyone. You'll always be separate. You'll always be competing. You'll always be trying to take someone out. If you're working, I've worked at a financial institution in a lot of these places and in corporations, and everybody is just horrible. They're horrible because you're not in their tribe. We're still tribal. And so as your ego develops, and this is what they're stopping. I believe they're stopping this process of self-actualization, even though they do these horrible things that traumatize us, and then they insert 33 in it, and that's supposed to be a number of self-actualization in there. I think that's a laugh. That's funny. It's almost like they're trying to spit dirty stuff all over it. Yeah, they're trying to make it so you're not an integrated person with deep wisdom and inner peace. Peace is not good. If you want war and money and that's how you make it, and you like slavery and you like horrors, remember, they put this in movies. Remember in Wonder Woman, she thinks she can just kill the main soldier guy and war will stop. But there's literally an archetype and an energy behind it. There's a bigger machine pushing it. One of my reasons that in my mid-50s I've never owned a cell phone. Smart. I got a smartphone when I was young, but I didn't use it as much. I'm trying to turn it off. And that is a good closing note. Is if you want to get out of this and self-actualize, you actually have to step away, because the internet is one of the biggest simulations going right now. And our minds project things out and we create reality. So you have to step away and go do real things to be human, whether it's nature, taking your dogs for a walk, which is what we're going to do tomorrow, doggos. My doggos are sitting here like, you never took us for a walk. We'll be doing that tomorrow. I'll take them for a walk. I'm also getting ready for a yard sale because I got to get rid of some junk in this house. Yeah, well, one of the reasons they took out Charlie Kirk is they were afraid of his ideas and he wouldn't go along with their scripts and their narratives. And if someone doesn't go along, even if they have a handler from you know what country, you got to get rid of them. They want to insert their pharma drugs into free thinkers who might lead by example. That's what they fear. That's why Charlie Kirk is gone. Okay, guys. So that PDF is going to be on there. Remember, social scripts are being manipulated and used against us. A lot of these scripts are rooted in biology. They're for survival, but they're rooted in our biology, but they're being used against us. So if we have, say we have a respect your elder kind of script where you, for authority, they create fake authorities, fake people to manipulate us to do what they say, because we're not supposed to question our authority figures. We're not supposed to question mom and dad of our teacher, whatever the script is. If they want the left to think someone's a Nazi, they're like, look, it's like Hitler. There's no logic. There's emotion. There's nothing there. No one stops logically like, hey, okay, like he's just he hasn't said anything that Hitler has said, and what are you talking about? They're just like, you're not a Nazi. They tell people you are one so they can get rid of you. They're behaving like Nazis. The system, the same system that funded the Allies funded Hitler. Remember that. And then they are still the ones running the show and funding everything on all sides. That's all I have to say about it. So you need to get hold of those scripts that's in your mind. Whatever, think of it like a record player that's going around and around and around and controlling what you can do. There's tons of evidence, there's tons of research that these scripts, that this is real neuroscience. It's out there. And once you become aware of the script, you can break it. You can break it and stop it and get away and think, well, what do I really think? Well, what's going on? Are all the left real psychopaths? Are all the right really Nazis? Of course they're not. That's the divisive narrative they want us to look. Always question authority. We raised our daughter to question all authority, including us. Whoops. There's very few. That's what the school system is about, is brainwashing you not to question authority. And it's hard. I've been in situations where it's awkward to speak out because you don't want to be the only one who's wrong, or everyone to look at you like, oh my God, what a stupid person. It's really difficult, and it's a deep program. Did I put that in the chat from Chase? I'll put it in again. It's your ego is not what they told you. He has a whole bunch of other good videos. He also has one on how they can basically brainwash you, turn you into a patsy, and get you to murder somebody. And they could do it in a few hours. So if they have a few hours with you, they can start convincing you. And I want to say this, because you have to know thyself and know who you are so people can't control you. This is why they go after the youth. Because even if they're 18 and you told them to question authority, they're still going to be really young and in a black and white stage when they go into university. They're going to have rigid thinking, and they're going to mistake in certain things, and they're going to be subjectively easier to manipulate. And if you're a 40-year-old person who's still acting like a teenager, you're going to be easy to manipulate. You're just going to be easy to manipulate. So you always have to be aware that if you don't know yourself and you're searching for somebody to tell you, you might create hell on earth for yourself, because there's always someone out there who's willing to take over you like a zombie witch doctor and tell you who you are. And I can guarantee you won't like the results of that. So check out those videos. I'll have that PDF up by tomorrow morning on Substack. I want to thank you guys. We'll see you next Tuesday on the Velvet Bite Radio, and hopefully I'll have an episode up for you guys come Thursday from the archives. Ciao, guys. We'll see you soon.